This is WFO Radio.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. WFO Radio back on the air here on our website and YouTube and all over social media. Really appreciate everybody checking out this show and sharing the show. And it has been great over the past couple of weeks. We've had some real blockbuster guests and race winners. If you know the deal, the story of WFO Radio, we've been doing this for a long time, going all the way back to 2006 on XM satellite radio, and then here on the web. After that as a podcast for over 10 years. And the theme behind the show is you win your way on. We bring the winners, the WFO winner views. And it's been a little different in the era of live streaming. We space them out a little bit more instead of all one show like back in the day. But we got Robert Hight going to be on the show talking about his Houston win out there at the Mopar Express Lane NHRA Nationals, the Spring Nationals at Houston Raceway Park. Robert going to be on the show just seconds from now. So if you're a John Force Racing fan, share the show, put it all over social media so you can see Robert. And this is what we were talking about with Alan Reinhart yesterday, that NHRA fans and drag racing fans need to get a fervor, right? Share the show, get it out there, and let's make sure everybody knows how cool our driver personalities are. Now, Robert is going to be up just seconds from now. I got to tell you about the people who make it possible for me to do this show, people who have been supporting WFO Radio for a long time, like Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. They've got the Dragster Adventure, which is what I tell my audience about, because I assume you guys are not racers and you just like the experience. But maybe you are a racer. You want to get better with your car. Maybe you want to go through and get your super gas or super comp license. Maybe you want to drive an alcohol dragster. Frank can make that happen for you. But the single day experience that is the Dragster Adventure, to me, is the best thing going today. Woo! Because it gives you the experience of driving a dragster, and then you know why everybody is so eaten up and passionate about this sport. Go to frankhawley.com to find out more information. Also, Total Seal Piston Rings. Matt Hartford and the team over there stepping up to support WFO Radio. We created a podcast for them called Hidden Horsepower, and he went out there and won in Houston. Was on stage and sprayed the champagne with Robert Hight and Steve Torrance as well. Total Seal's podcast is called Hidden Horsepower, but really it's just an exercise to educate everybody out there who's building an engine or having an engine built or works in a shop that Total Seal can work with you to reduce the friction inside your engine and help you unlock that hidden horsepower. Go to totalseal.com. Also, next generation engine builders, machinists, crew members, CNC programmers, car guys all around. Maybe you work in aerospace, SpaceX. Guess what? They can get started at samtech.edu, a great school located down there in Houston, Texas. Check out their website, samtech.edu. They're approved to train veterans under the GI Bill. You're a relatively young person. You don't need to be 18 here. You can change direction in your 20s and even early 30s if it's the right direction you're going to go. And I got to say, I love my job in motorsports, and I can't build anything. So imagine if I could build an engine, how great I would feel. Go to samtech.edu. And my buddy Marvin Rodak, 817-924-6821, RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com. Hot sauces and spice rubs and grills and tools and tips and all kinds of great information. But it is the coffee that makes the difference. Roasted fresh per your order, RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com. I start every single day with a little Rodax coffee. And that's why I always bring the energy on WFO. Speaking of energy, let's see what kind of energy this guy has got going after his big Houston win, Mr. Robert Hight. Robert, welcome back to WFO. How are you?
Good, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Hey, is this your first time on our live stream show? In the past, you've been on the podcast a billion times, but I don't know if we've seen you on the other end of the cam.
Nope, this is the first time. This is the first time I've gotten to see that Yankee banner behind you. Come on.
Woo! That's right, Robert Hight. I shouldn't talk trash to you because you're a current World Series champion with your Los Angeles Dodgers, but the rivalry renewed, hopefully, at some point.
One of these days, they're going to get back to the World Series. That'll be epic.
It will be epic. It will be epic. The world will stop. It'll rotate backwards on its axis.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, and you guys, of course, will hopefully lose, but we'll see. What on that though, man? What a winner, right? You won Houston. Your team is a winner. You're feeling it right now. I know it doesn't make up for missing all of last year, but good energy going right now.
It is. It was a real relief, you know. Basically, Atlanta and Charlotte, we were horrible, barely qualified, and you just don't. Our team is not like that. We don't normally. We have usually better results. So after those two races, to get to Houston and get a win, that definitely gets our confidence back up. But really got to thank the Peak team. They were the field, the best car in Charlotte, and they helped us out a little bit. We looked at their data. That's what having, multiple car teams is all about. And we stayed and tested in Charlotte on Monday, and came to Houston and got the job done. So it really was a full John Force Racing team effort.
And we had John on the show a few weeks ago. It was great to speak with him after a victory. You could talk to John at any moment because he's a big personality and has got such great history in the sport. But being relevant again, people talking about Lefty winning one for the old guys. Excuse me. And, thinking about John Force, Elio Castroneves winning one for the old guys, right? 4 times. It's like, hey, man, guys, John Force is 71 years old, and he just got the job done for a totally different generation. That had to be cool for you guys as well.
It is. It's amazing. When Dave Dinsmore, one of our PR reps, brings up some of these stats about John, it's just mind boggling. He's been to a final round, every year since, the 1980s. I mean, that's just insane. I hope when I'm 72, I can look back and, have half the career John Force has had. Because think about it. He's at 152. I'm at 52. I've got a long ways to go. I think I have 50 to get to just half of where he's at.
That's incredible. No, the guy's a great guy. He's our icon, our legend. But you guys are doing a great job as well. And that final round, you and Caps, right? The 2 guys with the next most wins behind him, pretty special. We'll talk about that. But people out there on social saying, "What's up, Monica? Congratulations on your win." We got Roger Richards out there watching. Everybody watching out there on either our YouTube channel or otherwise. So this will be kind of fun. Let's dig down on. And I'm going to be blunt. You said you guys kind of stunk. Why does that happen after a year of like refining and thinking about the project and really, I know you guys didn't stop working on the cars. You were probably rethinking, reinventing, and reimagining anything you thought was valuable, but tripped up at the start of the season. Can you give us, without revealing what it was, can you give us some insight into how that happened?
We really didn't trip up at the beginning of the season. Yeah, we did try some new things, but we had the quickest run in testing down in West Palm Beach. We went to Gainesville, went to the final, running really good there. Go to Las Vegas. I was number 1 qualifier and had the quickest run every round, in qualifying. And then first round, we had a big explosion. And we came back from that, but lost. And ever since then, I think we went 9 runs in a row without going down the racetrack. So it just shows you how finicky these cars are. And truthfully, maybe some of these things that worked in West Palm Beach and Gainesville and Las Vegas didn't work when we got to a little hotter racetracks, like Atlanta and Charlotte. And, Houston wasn't hot, but we changed everything for Houston. So it just shows you that, you can't just have a setup that works all the time. You've got to constantly be changing. That's what the crew chiefs, they do. They make a lot of adjustments for all the different conditions that we race in. So I wish I had the answer. And that's kind of a little spooky because it could change next week in Epping. We just know how these cars are. But I really believe I have the best with Jimmy Prock and Chris Cunningham and the rest of the John Force Racing team. We work together, we learn from each other, we help each other, and we got the job done the last 2 weeks in Funny Car. And Brittany, I think, is right around the corner from having a win in Top Fuel.
Absolutely. So let's talk about you round by round, looking back at Houston, which was on Monday because of the weather. And that was a bit of a bummer, but we got it in, most importantly, and able to move on. And you talked about Epping. We'll get into that. But, Bobby Bodie in the first round. And that's, I love that story because I really do, as much as I love Bob Bodie, I love the youthful energy, and you were that youthful energy, and we have to have it, right? Like there's got to be a nice balance of the drivers. And when this kid gets out, he's got braces on, he's talking about his frat friends. They're like having a watch party. Like, man, that's something that we need in the sport of drag racing.
Very cool. And, I've raced him twice now. I think first round in Gainesville, I raced him. And both times, we were in the staging lanes to race Sunday morning before it started raining. Most of Top Fuel got done. but his mom comes over and asks if I'd take a picture with Bobby Jr. And we take a picture. It's just great kid, great family. Good to see him out there doing it as a family. And it was really a bummer that they had to, he had to get back to college, so he didn't get to stick around. A buy run isn't my favorite. You want to race and you want to put a show on for the fans, and especially with a kid like that, you want to line up against him, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is, and we need them out there more. But there were a lot of people that had to leave, and that's unfortunate. But it also shows the nature of the way a lot of people handle the sport, right? Like the kids got to go to school. John and Don had to go do something. When the weather strikes, it can throw things off.
Yeah, exactly. And, you got to take your hat off to NHRA. That was a very challenging weekend. We knew, going into the whole weekend what we were going to be faced with. And they were very persistent, worked hard, and got as many runs as we could in. And going back to that, like I said, we tested in Charlotte and then, did all right in the first qualifying run. But I really felt, for us to feel that we were back and we were ready to race, we needed one more qualifying run, and that one got washed out for us. So kind of bummed, felt, maybe we were at a little disadvantage going into race day because we only had one qualifying run. And then, we got the single first round, and that still didn't make Jimmy and Chris happy, that run. I think we ran 393 first round. We were on the good side of it because we kept smoking the tires, and we were on the slow side, and that's not how they operate. They're usually on the other side trying to back it down a little. Well, we were trying to sneak up on it, and we kept doing that all day long, got a little quicker each time, and maintained lane choice. I think that was a big deal. Houston, they've got the left lane is a little easier to navigate and get down than the right. So we were able to maintain lane choice, and I really feel that helped us win this thing.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So you advanced to the second round where you got the Cruiser, and that team is the team that won the race last year. It was kind of weird. No Tommy Johnson, no Tony Schumacher, the two defending race winners from the previous year, were not there in the Nitro ranks. But the teams were, certainly with Cruz and JC and those guys. They're really good. So you had to get up, right? Like you had to get up for that race, and you did, and uncork a 91.3. And all of a sudden now you're in that territory you've been talking about, where you guys are known for big performance to advance to the semifinals.
Yeah, exactly. That team that Cruz picked up over there, they're you can see them coming around every week. They're getting better, and where Cruz is going to be. He's, a two-time champ, and he's a veteran, just like John Force. Those two guys have been doing this the longest in funny car. So, you got to be up on your game. Cruz, if you have to pedal it, he's one of the best. You really got to get after it. So we had to be on it, and it worked in our favor. But he's a world champ for a reason. So we pushed, we stepped up a little bit, and it got the job done.
All right. We've got some people out there on the social that have a couple of questions. I figured I would throw them in here in between our round by round. Like Dragster Jeff wants to know, and maybe this is top secret information, right? Like maybe people are probing for top secret information. If that's the case, you just say, hey man, I can't tell you, but he wants to know how much clutch wear do you average on a run? 100 more or less, says Dragster Jeff.
I would say, every team's different. It depends on, the hardness of the clutch disc, how many cutters you have on the floaters. But we try to average on my car 150 wear. Yet Dave Grubnick on the Dragster, his is, sometimes below 100. The biggest thing with clutch wear is it to be consistent, because if it changes 50 to 100 thousandths from run to run, you're fighting it. That is something that you have no consistency when clutch wear is all over the place. So we try to maintain 150 thousandths.
There you go. Next round, you went up against Bob Tasca, who has been like the hottest guy and the points leader and resurgent. Plus the guys over there, Mike Neff and John Schaefer used to be at John Force Racing. So better than anybody what they are capable of. And it seems to me, and it's great that they have a goal of going out and winning as many races and winning the championship for their team and their sponsors. So that's what we need, right? These big matchups. And when that set up, like, all right, here we go. Auto Club Camaro versus Bob Tasca and his Ford. This is what manufacturers want. This is what fans want. This is what everybody wants. Tell me how you prep for Tasca.
Oh, you got to get up. He's a great driver. Like you said, Mike Neff, John Schaefer, they're very good. But that's one car that I want to beat more than anybody. I'll be honest with you. And we got to get up for that. And we did. It was a very, very close race. I shallow staged, I wanted lane choice for the final. I was confident that we could get the job done and get to the final. So I shallow staged, had a good light, and got the win light. I mean, right when I pulled the chutes at the other end, he blew by me. So I knew it was a super, super close race. He's leading the points. He's the guy we're chasing right now. So, we kind of dug ourselves a hole, like I said, in Atlanta and Charlotte. And we needed to dig out of that and get the win and get to the final, and we got it done. So really, that was Jimmy Prock, Chris Cunningham, and the whole Auto Club AAA Texas team. They were probably as excited on that round win as they were when we won the final.
All right, now I got to dig a little deeper though. Like, all right, there's a lot of guys out there, and for instance, Cap's in the final. Like, there's a lot of crews the round before. Why is it that the Tasca team gets you so intense?
Well, they're leading the points right now. They're the guys that everybody's chasing, and we can't let them run away with it. We've got to, like Atlanta and Charlotte did not go good for the Auto Club team, so we had to dig ourselves out of a hole, and we only gained 40 on him, and I think we were 145 going into the race. So he still has a fair lead over us, and I want to get him early at Epping if we can. And especially at his home track, there'd be nothing better than to go out there and win Epping and along the way beat the Tasca car.
Well, I love what you're saying, Robert, because, we've spent a lot of time recently talking about like the old days and, Garlits and Muldowney and the little friction stuff, right? Like you gotta give your fans a little something to feel good about, and the people who are rooting for Bob to get a little up also. And that's what you're doing. Like, that's what we need. And it's not too soon to be thinking about points and championships, obviously, either.
No, it isn't. We want to go into the countdown number one, if possible. That's 20 points that you'd hate to look back at the end of the year and say, I lost the championship by 20 points. In 2007, I lost the championship to Tony Pedregon by 19 points. So, it's possible, and you want to go into the countdown number one. And right now, he's got the best car. He's driving well. They're the most consistent car, and we've got to get to that level and get them out if we can.
Final round going up against Caps. The two of you have raced many, many times, and that team also with Guido is very familiar to you. You know those guys. I was talking with John about it a couple of weeks ago, just how much of the brain power across all of drag racing has been in, around, through, worked at John Force Racing for a certain period of time. And Dean is one of those guys with Caps as a driver who you have battled for many, many years. And so that was going to be great because it was going to be one or the other's first win of the year, clash of titans, if you will, two championship caliber cars. How did you prepare for that? And the, 91 and the final, with an 046 light, enough to get the job done. They went up in smoke, obviously trying to go a little too quick.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Ron Capps is probably my favorite guy to race out there. There's never any games. It's almost like it's a race to see who can stage first. And if you watch the stage lights, we lit the stage lights identical. Jump in there and get ready and get this job done. Okay, he's a great racer. He's number 2 all-time wins. He's great career and a great guy, great driver. So it's a lot of fun to race him. You just know that it's going to be straight up, and everybody's gonna, he's gonna come over and shake your hand, or vice versa. If he'd have won, I'd have been over there shaking his hand. I want to catch him. Okay. No one's ever going to catch John Force for the all-time wins in funny cars. It's not possible. So Ron Capps and I are battling out for second, and he's got a pretty good lead on me. So, I needed that win.
Wow, that's an interesting. I love hearing that you're thinking about that, and that's a good point. Like John is his own zip code, right? Like Richard Petty in NASCAR with 200, David Pearson second 105. That's doable, certainly, or the winningest of everybody else. That's a different, especially since the sport has modernized, etc. And that you're thinking about that too, Robert. Boy, you had a lot of free time during the off year to think about your legacy.
I don't know about legacy. It's just you want to win, and I like history. Okay, I'm all about the history. Look at championships. Okay, Don Perdome, Kenny Bernstein, those guys have 4. The next championship I get, I'll have tied them, and that'll be second. You look at that kind of stuff. It gives you goals. It's something to push for.
Yes, I love it. Now let's go back to that period last year. John Force Racing. It was a very tough call. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. There are still people we encounter who may be unaffected by any of the stuff that happened last year, and they like, oh, we don't understand why we don't have full crowds at all the races all the time. Like, let everybody in. It's like, hey man, they are now. Not everybody's ready to come back, and we're trying to get them warmed into coming back all the time. You guys had a very tough decision, many decisions to make. Like, it was grueling and difficult. You don't have to go into incredible detail, but now you're back. The sponsors are with you. It seems like a good decision, but it had to be a great challenge to navigate everything that you did a year ago.
It was very challenging. It wasn't any fun sitting home and, having the races go on without us. But the truth is if you look at our sponsor lineup, they're all the same. All the same companies and brands are still with us. It's what made sense for our partners and John Force Racing. They spend a lot of money for this media and promotions and advertising they get. And were they going to get the bang for their buck last year? Nope, probably not. So it made the most sense for all of us, and it was painful. It was not any fun at all. And it seemed like an eternity. Like, I can't believe, we're already this many races in this year. What seemed last year like 2 years we sat out, and your mind starts doing crazy things and thinking, am I ever going to drive a nitro funny car again? Is it over? Will I ever have a chance to win one of these races again? A lot of these crazy things go through your head. So it was a real relief to get back, and especially at the beginning of the year, but a real relief to get to the winner's circle. And, we've still got the main players on all of our teams that make us win. And, it's one big family. I'm excited, and our sponsors are here for the long haul. It's not just 1 year deals. We got multiple year deals. So we worked with them, they worked with us, and I think it's paying off.
I think it's paying off as well. Big win out there in Houston. Nico out there, the best quote from Robert that I remember is, "You are never due a win. The team has to earn it." And you guys certainly did. Let's turn our attention to Epping. We'll be going up there for the first time. And that's another element of it, right? Like, you didn't race last year, so you were home doing whatever you were doing, thinking about the team, thinking about winning, all that. Our fans, they were disconnected in many ways. And there are so many places that we didn't get to go that now we're going back. And it's just so I wasn't at all the races. I was at a couple of the races, Gainesville, Indy. That was pretty much it. But to see people all of a sudden, it's a totally different experience. That social media hit we did on Sunday morning at your pit, like, those people were really excited to see you, to see a driver. Yeah, I know we were giving away some free stuff, but still, they were diehard, passionate Robert Hight fans. It's going to be great to get up there to New Hampshire and see those New England fans.
Some of the greatest fans in all the country. I remember the first few years we went there, they thanked us for being up there racing. They really appreciate the NHRA and the drivers and the teams. It's refreshing to go up there. Good racetrack, great racing surface. I've always qualified well there, but I've really not gone very many rounds. Haven't had any luck. So need to turn that around this year. Maybe we're on a little bit of a roll here, and we can carry that into Epping. Can't wait to get there. We'll be racing for AAA of Northern New England. We were AAA of Texas last week. So hopefully some of those folks will be out there with us and we can get them to the winner's circle. But, after a win, usually sometimes you'll have one weekend off, but 2 weekends off after a win I tell you right now, is too much. And we haven't even spent the next weekend off yet. I'm ready to go back right now and get this going.
Yeah, you say that now, but wait until the second half of the season. We're running every single week. Then that will be a little different. It's going to be fun.
Get good. That's how you get in your groove and things start clicking and you start doing a better job of driving, and the crew chiefs and the teams, that's what it takes, is practice. Look at Major League Baseball. They play 162 games a year. That's a grind.
Yes.
But that's how you get good.
Part of life, right? That's the thing. It's like you run into you have a slump. It's okay. It's not the end of the world, because there's going to be a hot streak that comes down then that's why you love baseball. Anybody that says, oh, we got to cut the schedule down, they don't get what baseball is. All right. Couple questions from our audience, then we'll let you go. I appreciate you giving us this time. Like Blake is out there from Ohio, and he wants to know your favorite memory from your racing career.
Oh boy, that's a tough one, Blake. Obviously it's always got to be your first win, and my first win was in Houston. My last win was in Houston. I've had really good luck there. I think that was my fourth win. But also, your first championship, that's very special. But I don't think you can ever top that first win, because until you've actually gone out and done it, there's an element of doubt in your mind. Okay, am I cut out for this? Can I do it? Am I gonna choke when the pressure's on the line? Got the first win, and that really gives you a lot of confidence and say, I can do this. So first win has to be the most memorable moment.
Learning how to win makes perfect sense. We see it in all these other sports. And frankly, you don't exist until you won that race, right? The list of winners. You put your name on the list, and then all of a sudden you're in a different, and all these different lists that you just referenced, like 3-time champions list and most wins all time. Like where are you on the lists? It's a big thing. All right, one more, and then we'll let you go. This is interesting. Mark wants to know, of all the JFR drivers in the past, like everybody, Ashley, Courtney, Mike Neff, Gary Densham, etc., who would you want to race and beat the most if given the chance? I would like to hear you say that, like, of all historic drivers, right? Like within the family, I don't know, but you tell me, what do you think?
I've beat all those guys. And gotten beaten by all those guys. So, it's not really, if I could pick one person to race against, it would be Don Perdome. I got to race against Kenny Bernstein, when he came back to Funny Car, and I actually won. That was very cool, because Kenny was, I followed him in the early days. So I don't know. My teammates, like I said, they beat me. I beat them. That's not a big deal anymore. But if I could bring one guy back to race, it would obviously be Don the Snake Perdome.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if you got to read his book. I lost myself in his book for a week or so. It was amazing just to have all those flashbacks and thoughts of what it was like in the early days. And I thought of John, John, the link between the two of you, right? Like John, the link through all of the modern era drivers. I think of, so many people and Snake, and he talked about the Greek, and I think of Krista, and how this sport is passed from one generation to the next generation. You have a next generation that appears to be interested in receiving the torch at some point. What about that?
Yes, she does. My daughter, Autumn, we've got one more year in juniors, but at the beginning of the show here, you gave Frank Hawley a plug, and I want to give him a plug as well, because I've gone to college and obviously high school, but the best teacher I've ever been around was Frank Hawley. He is very thorough. He really gets it. So coming up here right before Norwalk, Autumn is going to be taking Frank Hawley's Super Comp school, in Indy, and that's going to be another big step. We're not going to just go one time. We're going to go 2 or 3 times. I want her to really learn and listen and get this from Frank before she ever jumps in a super comp to compete. This is going to be a slow process, but we're going to start it right before Norwalk. So we're both excited about that.
That's great. Okay, so now that you've told us that, it made sense, right? Like the girl, her whole life has been drag racing, and she likes it. Like not everybody does. There's some people who have kids that they're just not into it, right? I don't want to do what my parents do, and then there are some kids that love it and do it. And Autumn is one of those kids. But you mentioned Super Comp, so like she's going to kind of follow the same way as John's daughters did, like Super Comp a little bit, see what's up, and that's a Shark Tank out there. It's not easy by any stretch of the imagination, but boy, does it train drivers very well.
It does. It does. And that's what I love about this sport is, working your way up. I never got that opportunity. Okay. I was a crew member and I jumped in a car. I actually went to Frank Hawley's and got an alcohol license before I got in John's car to start making test runs. So Autumn, she's almost 17. She's got a lot more racing experience, at a young age than her dad did. So, if she keeps with this and pays attention and wants to do it, that's number one. She has to show me she wants to do this more than anything else. She's going to get an education first, and we'll progress and see how it goes.
There you go. Robert, thank you very much. I'd love to trash talk you about the Yankees, but I'm just not feeling very confident right now. So I'm going to
Me neither. The Dodgers aren't doing so good either.
But you got nothing to say. You guys won the World Series. That's all that matters.
But that was a shortened year too. Okay.
Oh,
really get into history.
COVID year. Right.
Yeah, so.
Doesn't count. Hey, what do you think about the Asterisks? I mean, Astros, like you guys kind of got really jobbed by them. And so did we. And we recently, like our fans gave them a really hard time at the stadium, but it seems like people are kind of forgetting that. I never asked you about, like, what is your thought about that? Are you just letting it go, or are you keeping it right here?
It's kind of a bummer, but you never know how things would have shook out anyway. But it would be like me getting beat by somebody that was cheating out here,
right.
That was going against the rules, and that wouldn't be much fun. So
no, it wasn't.
Nothing you can do about it. It's behind us. You got to move forward and hopefully beat them next time.
Right. Well, we'll always remember, never forget what happened.
Right.
Happened out there. Robert, thank you for making the time for us. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you up there in Epping, and we're going to go at it again, and it's going to be great fun. And again, so happy to have you guys back, a big part of the sport, and the fans obviously showing it. Happy to have you back, you, John, Britt, and good things lie ahead. So we'll see you up there. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. And also thanks for Sunday morning, the Q&A you did for AAA of Texas.
Oh, absolutely. That was, I love to do things like that because number one, it loops in people who aren't at the track, which I think is super important. You did a great job answering questions from little kids and people and the energy of that crowd. I think that might be the reason you got so amped up to win. I don't know.
Let's do it again in Epping then.
There you go. Thank you, Robert. Appreciate it. Take care.
Bye.
There he goes. Robert Hight with us here on WFO Radio. Yeah, we had a really good time out there. And you got to follow the social media, NHRA social media. All right, let's see what everybody's got to say. Put your comments in the comment section up there and we'll get to them. Yeah, kind of a mid-afternoon Tuesday deal. I want everybody to, like our pages and enable notifications. That way, whenever we go live with someone, you'll get the notification. Like last Thursday at 8:30 a.m., it was Kyle Larson at 8:30 a.m. And then he goes on and wins the pole and wins the Coke 600. And if you did not enable the notifications, you might not have seen it until after it was over. People got to ask questions of Kyle Larson and he won. And Robert Hight, what time can you do, Robert? Tuesday on Wednesday at 2 p.m. You got it. The WFO universe is ready at all times. And the reason you're ready is because you have enabled notifications. Either follow us on Facebook or Twitter and subscribe and click the bell on YouTube, or just go to the WFOradio.com website and you can watch everything after the fact. Thank you, Monica. That was great. No, listen, seeing Autumn grow up and be really interested and consistently interested in drag racing. I always say it when we talk about the Summit Junior Drag Racing Program, like for the parents out there. Yeah, I know it's going to be cost and it's going to be work, right? It's a lot easier to go to a Little League baseball game and break out the folding chairs and the cooler and watch the coach chase him around for an hour and a half. And then you drive home, right? Little League parents. No offense. Love baseball, but I'm just saying junior drag racing is a little more complex than that. But the value of what you get is so much more because the kids are hands-on and they're doing and they're experiencing and they're thinking and they're by themselves. tucked in that race car by themselves, and they realize that they have to rely upon themselves. And there's just so many things. And I think drag racing is so great, piggybacking to yesterday's conversation, in that we need to do everything we can do to ensure that tracks survive and drag racing survives. And our sport, in the grand scheme of things, with cars and whether some of them are electric down the road or what, it's the spirit of it, the hard work, the determination, the outwork your competition, innovate against your competition, and then have a beer with your competition afterwards. And, maybe even at some point share the knowledge with them. Like, that happens a lot. Share the knowledge, because it's just a fun and positive experience. All right, put your comments in the comments section. I am going to tell you about the people who make it possible, and then I'm going to tell you about a major milestone in my life. Before I do that, though, I want to get everybody prepared for something that may happen tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. I told you I was kind of trying to make something happen, and it's going to happen as of now. But, you never know. But Brett Kepner is going to be on the show. And he was recently inducted into the International Drag Racing Hall of Fame. And Brett and I connected a couple of times prior to that. And the guy's got an unbelievable and in many ways unparalleled story in drag racing. You talk to the people who know drag racing, and I don't consider myself to be one of them. I'm happy to be here, and I love the sport, and I got all kinds of love and passion for it. But there are people who retain everything about everything in the sport. And he's one of them. And not only is he one of them, but he is leading a lot of different initiatives to do exactly what I said: preserve and continue the sport of drag racing, both historically and currently. And so Brett is going to be on the show. What are we going to talk about? Well, I'm going to ask him, of course, his career in drag racing and TV. But also, you may recall those Mr. Dirt columns where the mysterious bracket racer would go out in a rental car and win bracket races back. I guess it was Superstock that was in. If anybody knows anything about drag racing and where it is, where it's been, where it's gone, where it's going, Brett Kepner is the guy. We'll talk to him about his induction into the International Drag Racing Hall of Fame. This is scheduled to happen at 4 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. You can bring questions, and we'll just see where it goes. It's going to be a general conversation, and let's see what people are saying. Roger Richards says, I'm proud to call Brett a friend. Yeah, well, I'll tell you about an interesting time in a second. He's the walking encyclopedia of drag racing. That's it. He's the walking encyclopedia of drag racing. And that's not just Dale's words. That is Don Garlett's words. Like Don Garlett's, who's got the craziest memory of anybody that I know. Yeah, well, in 1958, I made a right turn at the big tree, and then I made a left, and I was in a back alley, and then all of a sudden I found the track, and it was weird. And a guy named Lenny came out. Like, how do you remember such things? I can't remember yesterday. I had somebody tell me, yeah, do you remember that? I was like, no, I don't remember that. I have all these new experiences, and the old ones just go out the back door, man. Where'd it go? I did that. That sounds really great. It's too bad I don't remember it. But it's also fun to hear about the great things you've done through the eyes of other people. Also the terrible things. That's never fun. But anyway, Brett Kepner tomorrow, 4 p.m. Set a reminder, like the page, share it with your friends, tell everybody, and we will be exactly where we are back. Let's see, Brother Joe. How about inviting Brother Bill Kuhlman? Yeah, well, back in those days, absolutely. Tomorrow, I don't know. I want to share. I might have some surprises, but I don't know. I think we're going to just conversation with Brett, because I want it to go wherever he wants it to go. Who knows where he wants it to go? What does he think? Like, this is, to me, an opportunity to dig into the mind of the walking drag racing encyclopedia with no agenda, which is where I'm coming from. No agenda. Like, where's this going? I don't know. Marvin Rodak, Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com. I can tell you where he's going. He's fired up and ready to go to ship out a little coffee to you, roasted fresh per your order. Like, which one do you want? This one is a big mistake by me. I'm keeping it in the studio, the Sumatra Organic Honey. Some of my friends have said this is the best coffee they've ever had in their lives, like this particular one. And does Marvin have any more of this? Maybe not, because that's the way it works. Like, great stuff comes in the door and it's limited, and then it's out the door and you've missed it. So I'm holding on to this one and rationing. But it's all up to you. 817-924-6821. Call Marvin. Hey, Marvin. Get yourself the Habanero Endorphin Booster Hot Sauce, my personal favorite. I can't have anything without it. And it is great. But the coffee and the hot sauce and the spice rub, it is also good. Thank you, Marvin, for supporting our show. And he's also a sponsor of Funny Car Chaos and some other things as well. We appreciate them. Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology. We got another live show coming up. Have you liked their Facebook page? Have you followed along in the Hidden Horsepower group? All of those things I recommend you do. But it's an exercise in piston ring technology. And if you're building an engine, having an engine built, or working in an engine shop, and you're not using Total Seal, or at very least communicating with them about it, you're making a grave mistake on behalf of yourself and your customers. Their technology has advanced dramatically. In fact, there are classes where certain things are illegal. I'll give you an example, like gas porting pistons in stock eliminator. You can't do that because it's stock eliminator. But they have new technology like piston rings that it's piston ring. You can do what you want with it. And so the technology is there. Go to totalseal.com, check out the podcast, listen to a couple of episodes, and then give them a call, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. 40% of your engine's friction comes from your piston rings. You can cut that down if you go to totalseal.com. Frank Hawley, like, there's nothing I'm going to say that's better than what Robert Hight says, which is the sad state of affairs, but it is also the story of my life, right? This is why we have these 3-time champs on, and I'm so thrilled that they come on the show, lend WFO radio and our little broadcast here their credibility. And when it comes to Frank Hawley, it's all about credibility. You know, I've been watching the whole Tony Stewart goes Top Fuel Racing deal. In fact, I'm going to watch the 3rd episode tonight. I guess it dropped on Thursday. I watched the first 2, and I'm loving that. I'm loving seeing Smoke go through the process. And who's there? Frank Hawley is there. Little conversations, mental stuff. The guy is he's a savant. He's a genius, and he probably put a lot of thought into it when Austin Coyle told him that the roll cage wasn't welded to the chassis, and then if he crashed the car, he would be dead. And that will probably inspire you to think very deeply about driving and controlling the car. Just saying. Go to frankhawley.com. And if you haven't heard that story, Frank has confirmed it. Samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. We say start your education at full speed. You know what we're talking about here. You're a young person, you're directionless, you're wayward, you don't know which way you're going. And, you love cars, though. And can you have a living in engines and machines and machining? And the answer is yes, you can. You can have a living, but you need a good education to start and an even better work ethic. And all these guys on the Hidden Horsepower podcast, Judd has been one of them, have said that the problem is there's so many people that come in and they know everything already. It's like, I can't teach you everything if you know everything already. Going to Samtech with an open mind and a willingness to learn, they're going to put you on the right path. And I've talked to enough of the graduates to know that they have got a great program. If you go there, tell them you heard about it on WFO radio. Do that. And there you have it. And of course, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. Nitro Fish, where you can get the 10th anniversary t-shirt. I have replaced the link on our website. They have replaced their website. They got a brand new website. And you can see the WFO t-shirt, 10th anniversary gear. And of course, on our website, which is how you get there, the WFO store. Check it out. We've got face coverings. You know, I was phasing out the face coverings, and I've decided against it. You need face coverings, folks. You're going to need face coverings somewhere. Yeah, you don't need a face covering to go to outdoor sporting events anymore if you've been vaccinated, but if you're going to fly on a plane, you're going to need one. And if you're going to go in a store, guess what? Every store that I'm going into, they're asking me to have one. And so it's probably a good idea to have a WFO radio face covering for just $10. Go to the website, click on it, get yourself a face covering. And, will I reorder after we run out of stock? I don't know. But I'll throw in some stickers and a patch and all of that stuff. WFO. All right, put your comments in the comment section. Let's see what you've got. Oh, look, I'm getting a text message. I can set up the same deal, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Brett Kepner is in. You're watching WFO stuff happen behind the scenes. All right, let's see what everybody else has to say. We got a hi, Joe, from someone I do not know. Surprises are fun. Surprises are fun. Surprises are fun. Very good. Okay, no most recent comments, so I'll tell you the story. Ladies and gentlemen, I am happy to announce to all of you here today on WFO Radio that the most annoying project of my life, my automotive life, is now over. The Pontiac GTO window is completed. Not only am I educated about it, but I have done the research that will enable me to guide anyone else in the future down this road. Should they have the similar problem, I want to thank Chris Sweeney, WFO radio listener, and he's the guy who did the deal, and watch this. And with this concludes the most annoying automotive project of my life. That's right. That's right. I did it. I did it and I accomplished it. And I want to give credit to all of you out there, the WFO universe, because I was going through the project and I hit a brick wall. I was stymied, right? Like, what am I going to do? And I went to the YouTube and I went to all the forums and I went to all of these places and I really kind of just hit a brick wall. I had a general idea of what I thought might be the deal, whatever. Excuse me. But when I brought it on the air, when I brought the problem to the air, right? And I know we're not going over the airwaves. We're going through, Wi-Fi. That's kind of the air. So just bear with my old school radio terms. When I brought it on the air, that's when some people, Chris, reached out and he said, hey, man, I got a parts car. I'm willing to help. It's like, oh, my God. Sent me some regulators. I got in there and I started looking and researching. And then I found the actual part I needed, that little plastic piece, which he was able to get off his parts car and sent to me. And I went through the whole process. The urethane 3M window weld and the primer and everything across the board, went through it. I did it as perfectly as I possibly could, as best as I could. I think I did a pretty good job. Guess what? The window goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down multiple times. Put it all together last night. And that's it. The project is over. And now I can work on a different project, right? Because there's always another project. But this one was of particular anguish and aggravation for me because it just, I love the car. It's only got 16,000 miles on it. Those 2004 to 2006 GTOs are becoming much more sought after and appreciated as a LS rear drive car. Now that all the Grand Ams are dead, everyone, doesn't say, oh, it looks like a Grand Am. They just don't know what it looks like. It looks like some sort of, Pontiac muscle car thing with a couple of scoops up front. I really like the way it's looking now. I think it's aging actually very well. Personally, I think it's aging very well. And it's my little bracket car. And now I got to get the headlights cleaned up and take care of some other projects. But I'm super excited. And also the caddy gets to come into the garage again, which is really what it was all about. Like, sun is hot out there. But I was very excited. Now, the rear main seal on the Pontiac Trans Am, that is a different thing altogether. So it turns out that it might not be the rear main seal, that the oil pan gasket around that area is just pushed out. Do I have to take the engine out to just redo the gasket? I think I might have to, but I'm bringing it on the air. I've already had some people suggest that I should clip the gasket, stuff it with some silicone in there as a Band-Aid to get me to the next level. I don't know. Let's see what other people have to say. Final comments. Remember, Brett Kepner tomorrow. Let's see. Okay. The window washer on Mojo doesn't work. I need your help. The washer. Well, have you lifted the hood? Have you connected? You've seen the hose? Like, I had a problem with that recently. And all I did was I squirted some alcohol in there and it cleared it up. Got in there with like a little, like a pen. Just make sure the lines are clear. It's the pump, man. Come on, Mojo. That thing's Mercedes, man. It's not supposed to ever break. Let's see. Looking good and the windows work. Yes. Thank you, Stubo. Appreciate you. We got ignition coming up at some point this week. We're going to talk about Elio and the Indy 500. I just don't know exactly. And Sue Morris of Dave and Sue Morris has been our co-host as a Patreon and watching all the shows. And we appreciate her as a Patreon and everybody. Let's see. Unbolt the motor mounts and loosen the pan. Yeah. And what's that going to do? I got a stock cross member that will enable me to drop the pan 1.5 inches. And then what? Right? Like Reinhardt and I were talking about it yesterday before the show. Then I'm to clean the old gasket off of there. It's going to go down into the pan. I can't do that. So I really don't know. I don't know. That's where we're at. Bring it to the show. Let's see what Barrichello says. My window was stuck in my car and I managed to get it up. Good job, Barrichello. Saved myself a couple of $100 having to buy a motor. Well, what did you do? It's still broken. Did you fix it? Or it's just you put a 2x4 in there and it's up forever, permanently up. Yeah, which is one of the routes to go. You can definitely do that, but you got to fix it, man. You got to fix it. Dun, dun, it's done. Glassman Joe. I have not yet fixed all of the window regulator problems in the Costello family. There's one more to go, and it's on my mom's Pontiac Grand Prix. Yes, we have a lot of Pontiacs in our family. Okay, I fixed it and the window is up. I got it. Just putting the window up doesn't necessarily tell the tale. I had a lot of people, you tape it up. Don't have to remove the pan. Yeah, you're going to have to let me know what you're talking about, Jeff. I don't know. I'm under there. I have photos, and I don't see a lot of possibility with that. But I'm definitely up to hearing every hillbilly possible project, and I will sort them out. Because right now, lifting the engine out of that thing to do an oil pan gasket is not very appealing. And we really want this GTO thing to remain the most annoying automotive project of my life for at least a year. Really, yes, I'll message you. Please do. With a diagram and a drawing, sketch, like a storyboard of how it's supposed to go. Big thanks to all you folks out there. Roger is out. Way to go. Remember, tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Needs to come out to do it right. Yes, I know. But I really only need to be able to test the car a few times to make sure my torque converter situation is correct. Damn it, I missed it. Had a killer question. I'll have to wait. You will have to wait, Derek. You'll have to wait. For Robert to win his next race. That's fine. Big thanks to Robert Hight for coming on the show. A great victory, he and Caps, in the final round. We're going to see that a few times this year. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Remember, our archive is loaded. Subscribe to the podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud. Write us a review. Appreciate you. And thanks to Robert Hight and John Force Racing. Once again, we'll see you tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. The Encyclopedia of Drag Racing, Brett Kepner, goes WFO. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great day.